Welcome back to New York Talk, episode 156. I'm your host, Elyse DeLucci. How you doing, baby? Almost springtime. Oh my God, couple of days last week in New York City that required no jacket, no coat. I was, loving it. Although, let me say, I don't love the summer, okay? I like the in-between, right? For somebody that's very black and white like myself, the gray seasons really do me well. Gray seasons meaning autumn and spring. Not too hot, not too cold. I'm into it. I'm into it. The second summer hits and I get the under boob sweat, that's it. I'm done. I shut down. I don't even want to go outside. I am not built for summer. Besides, I'm like the only person in my family with this Italian skin, and I burn like a crab. I get red. It's a horror. Anyway, I'm happy. I'm happy to welcome spring. Need a little bit of change, but not too hot. Isn't that very New York? Speaking of lamenting, I'm so sad Richard Lewis died. I loved him. The comedian Richard Lewis, obviously. We see the same shrink. Is that not hilarious? Well, actually, let me say, not shrink, psychologist. We have the same therapist. I go to this therapist that sees a lot of comedians, and Richard started going to him like 40 years ago. I don't hear stories, patient, doctor confidentiality kind of stuff, but I love him. And you know what? I loved my therapist more when I found that out. But yeah, no, the guy, he's working for me. Anyway, fact of the day. Someone referred recently to the East Village as Klein Deutschland, and I was so surprised, but apparently back in the late 1800s, the neighborhood of the East Village was called Klein Deutschland, aka Little Germany. Outside of Vienna and Berlin, it had I think it was the third largest population of German-speaking people in the world. And of course we have, I'm on the Upper East Side, we have which was called Germantown, Yorkville, and there's some remnants of that, Schaller and Weber, like a sausage shop or whatever on 2nd Avenue. When I first moved to the Upper East Side, there used to be a hairdresser on 2nd Avenue, I think it was like an 88th, called Brunhilde's. Oh my God, I never went in there. I should have. I would have probably loved it. I'll never forget Brunhilde's. It was this store, and I'm assuming, by the by, that it was from Germantown, or just very old, but I'm going to go with Germantown. This is the mind that I exist in. This is my fantasy mind. So it was a blue storefront, like a bright blue, like a Toy Story-ish blue kind of storefront. And then in hot orange, Con Edison, script, it said Brunhilde's. And it was a very retro sign. And, it just looked fabulous. Look it up. You probably could be able to see it. But I don't know. I love all that stuff. I love to hear about what things were. And I like to see pictures, of course, of what things looked like then compared to now. I think I told you episodes ago, there's this website, and I find it just so fascinating that you could see neighborhoods and blocks and put in a specific address of New York City, any address in New York City, and it'll show you what it looked like in the 1940s. And I am sorry, I don't have the website name on me, but if you, Google around, maybe you can find it. But I love that. And when I put my address into this 1940s website, it showed all of the cars parked on my block, the old Ford, old giant cars with the wheels, and the cars of the 40s, and it showed people very nicely dressed on the street. It was, it's wild. It's totally wild. Anyway, so what's new? What's new with me? I don't know. I'm still doing keto, by the by. I'm not letting it go. You know what? I'm surprised how much it works for me. I'm surprised how much, I shouldn't be surprised cutting out carbs and sugar, how much it works. But I am surprised at, it's the only diet Seriously, it's the only diet I've ever tried my whole entire life where I actually lost weight and was able to keep it off. I am going to the gym, but only like once or twice a week, and I'm doing weight training as opposed to being on the treadmill. So maybe it's a combination of both things, the gym and the diet, but it is working. The only gripe I really have is when you're at restaurants, it could get difficult. Oh God, that's Elmo scratching and groaning if you hear. Anyway, like, I'm tired of eating salads, and then if you're at a restaurant, you can have, you can have a steak and you can have some sauteed spinach, vegetable, whatever, a piece of grilled chicken, but it gets a little, and then if everybody has dessert, you want to partake, and then it's like the only fruits you can eat are berries. It's, you have to really be okay with either going without, saying, you know what, I'm not going to have a dessert, I'm going to have the coffee instead, just the black coffee, or, cheating. But I'm not cheating. Well, let me say this. I'm not cheating, but I'm also not keeping my body in ketosis, which is like the whole point. When your body is in ketosis, it like doesn't use carbs or whatever to burn fat, right? So, and like the fat burns itself, something like that. I'm probably actually not even telling it to you right, but look it up. But you get my point. I'm not keeping my body in this ketosis. I can't. Like, it's not feasible for me. But with the kids. But so I am doing keto, but it's probably more like now a dirty keto. For example, the other day I made chicken cutlets, and for about 2 months I was not having a chicken cutlet. Instead of making the chicken cutlets with Italian Caesar breadcrumbs, breading them in that, I was breading them with almonds, crushed up almonds. But the other day I made the chicken cutlets and I had an actual regular breaded chicken cutlet. And you know what? Because I can't deprive myself. I can't. It was too hard. But the next day, the next week, I kept right back to keto, One of my friends said, "Oh God, Elyse, you had like a breaded chicken cutlet. Relax." Hey, well, listen. If you come on. I will say this. I didn't get it right, but I had the most beautiful blackberries that I got at Costco. And Costco fruit's always hit or miss, because sometimes the fruit is very good and sometimes it's on its way out. You get like one strawberry and then you have to throw the whole thing out. And I don't know if it's because it's one of these giant wholesale stores, and I don't know why the produce is so hit or miss. But I got these blackberries and they were delicious, and I thought, I want to make a blackberry pie. Let me do a blackberry pie. And they do sell keto crusts, but I don't want to be on foot in Manhattan and be searching for a keto crust. Who has time for that? So I'm looking up, how can I make it, and I read you can make it, I have it right here, with crushed pecans. You can make a pie crust out of crushed pecans. So the recipe is a half a cup of whole pecans, a little bit, a dash of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, a tablespoon of butter, 1 egg white, and some Truvia, which is that fake sugar. I didn't have that. I had stevia, the liquid drops, and I put it in. And you basically put all that stuff, you grind up the pecans, right? And you put everything in the food processor, blender, whatever. I used a small Cuisinart chopper. And you get it to like almost a sand texture. And then you take your pie dish. I have a clear Pyrex pie dish, and you put that sand mixture in the pie dish. Use a piece of plastic wrap to let it guide it and flatten it out, whatever, and then you bake it in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes just on its own, right? And then when you take the pie crust in the pie dish out, you don't remove it, you just keep it, let it cool 10 minutes, and then put your pie mixture in, the berries, whatever you want to do. Here's the thing. I was so excited to try this, right? I thought, oh my God, this is going to be delicious. I don't know where the hell I went wrong. The pie shell, it came out like wettish. Yeah, like wettish. And and soggy, and it wasn't like crispy, and it was a shanda. Okay, so I'm gonna have to work on that. I did wind up spraying the pie crust once it was in the thing with a little Pam baking spray. I don't know why. Why did I do that? I already had an egg. It already had butter. Maybe that's where it went wrong. But it wasn't good. But I'm going to try it again because I would love to be able to make some and enjoy some desserts that could kind of fit in on the keto diet. Elmo, don't touch that. That could kind of fit in on the keto diet, especially for when the holidays come around. And yes, it is March, and I am talking about eating at Christmas. So what? Oh my God, this dog, Elmo, no, Elmo. He's eating the printer paper. I have a pile of printer paper on the floor near the printer, and he's just going to town on it. And then I wonder why I can't have anything nice, or why I can't keep my house nice sometimes, Anyway, I ran into the Tooth's girlfriend the other day for the first time. Could you die? Yeah, I know. For those of you that don't know, the Tooth is my ex-husband, Paulie the Tooth. I call him the Tooth because of a whole, story I tell on stage. But anyway, I call him the Tooth. And he's been dating this girl for 3.5 years, and I've never met her. And yes, she spends time with my kids, and, she stays at his house. They practically live together, according to him. Good for you. And, never met her. And that is a whole situation. And if you remember, the reason why I haven't met her is because when we were divorced, we said we were only going to introduce the kids to somebody if we ran it by the other parent first. And so when I introduced my daughters to Chris, I said to Paul, I'm gonna, introduce them to Chris, blah, blah. And we fought about it, and it was on the phone. It was a whole conversation. I'll never forget. I was in my car. I was driving downtown. It was during the pandemic, and I was driving downtown because I wanted to see if Century 21 happened to be open. The memories that we have, right? So, I remember that, and we fought about it, but eventually, he was like, look, if you want to introduce the kids to another guy, then that's what you want to do. What am I going to say? Fine. And I did, whatever. Now, the Tooth did not do the same thing. Okay, he did not. I went to Vegas to do some stand-up with my friend, Brett Ernst. I was there for like 4 days, and Paul decided this is a great time when I'm out of town for my kids to meet his girlfriend. I didn't even know. It was 3 weeks later that my kids happened to mention it to me. They happened to mention that they met Daddy's girlfriend or some lady Daddy was dating. And I was furious. Not because they met her. I was furious because he just went around me. And by the way, we had this problem in our marriage because he would make decisions and I would find out after the fact. And sometimes he would make decisions because maybe I was working late or I was traveling for work. And listen, I'm not saying that one of the two parents, can't make whatever decision for a child or for the children. Of course they can. But, we were pretty much very open and communicative, and we didn't really have like a primary parent situation, although he was the primary parent when I was traveling for work and stuff like that. But anyway, it was just sneaky. I mean, that's the reality. It was sneaky when he introduced, and and then when I confronted him, he was like, oh, well, we just went for an ice cream. Oh, we just went for an ice cream in the park, whatever the hell he said. And I was just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they met her for a second. Like, you should tell me. So right out of the gate, right, if that was somebody that he was going to be serious with, or he thought something can happen, right out of the gate, you just set the tone with me. That's not kosher, right? So already annoyed. And then as time went on, his relationship with her, it grew fine. And and she's, next thing I know, I'm hearing again from the kids. She's at the house or his house, whatever it is, and they're sleeping over, or my kids are going to her house. And I just was like, what the F is going on? And because it was the time of the pandemic, and because everybody was so scatterbrained, and everybody was like, virus and shots and what was closed and where were we putting the kids because we had to get them out of the city, and who was working and who had meeting, like the whole thing with homeschooling. It was hard to like keep track. It was hard for me to keep track of everything, right? It was hard for me to just sometimes argue or say something to him about the girlfriend or whatever, my kids meeting, like when I'm dealing with like homeschooling and trying to sign my kids into a Google Classroom. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was, so a lot of things slipped as with this, in regards to this, as they would with everybody, and they have with everybody, not would, as everybody had things slip anyway. So fine. And then I started to get mad as time went on, as the world opened back up, and then it closed again, and then it opened again. We have this lake house that he has, and I don't want to talk about that because it's very upsetting. It was part of his 40th birthday present, or was his 40th birthday present, and from me, I put the down payment down. And he put a little, but that was like a thing that I got him for his 40th. And because he's from Wales, and like he likes the greenery, and it was like we were here in Manhattan, and it was like, how can I give him that? And this is when we were still married. Anyway, so then we have this lake house, and he would be at the lake house, and then I'd find out the girlfriend's there with my kids. And then the girlfriend, she's like doing these things that like I don't want her to do with my kids. Like, for example, they were playing this fairy game. Now, I was raised Catholic. Paul is an atheist, and fine. And that was one of our issues in our marriage, but whatever. And am I a practicing Catholic? Not really. I think if I get to Judgment Day, if there is a God, is he gonna say to me, what the hell happened? I'm gonna just say, I think you could forgive me, given certain things that went on in my life, moving on. Fine. But, I was raised Catholic, and our plan was to raise the kids Catholic, and we agreed on that before we had kids, and, got the kids baptized. But then, obviously things happened to our marriage. Next thing I know, this girl, she's giving my kids crystals, telling them to rub crystals for whatever, to believe in this, and playing fairy games with them. There's magic fairies. Now, look, some of the stuff is child's play and it's cute, and other stuff was like, wait a second, is this girl, she's believing in crystals as opposed to other things? And if that's her thing, that's fine. I have my fair share of rose quartz all over my house and God knows what, but do I need her putting her ideas or doing these things with my kids that are 4 and 5? No, sorry. Like, there was just things that I was uncomfortable with. And as I hear myself saying this, of course I don't think it's like totally a huge deal, right? The girl, from what I understood from my 4 and 5-year-olds at the time, or whatever, however old they were, she seemed nice enough. It could have been worse. He could have been running around with some, crack whore, right? I mean, come on. But she seemed nice enough. But there was no conversation between me and him, or me and her, of course, that discussed, how I'm choosing to raise the kids, how we're choosing to raise the kids, what's important to me, things I would like them to do, or believe in, or whatever, just whatever. Boundaries, let's be on the same page. Hey, listen, if you're going to be dating my ex-husband and you're going to be spending a weekend with my kids or a week with my kids, I would like for you to be on the same page as me, or at least stick to what I am teaching them, or enforce the things I'm teaching them, or don't introduce your other things. Do you know what I'm saying? None of that happen. None of those conversations. And look, I'm talking in broad strokes. This is all very ideals, but it didn't happen. Now, if the tooth was listening to this, he would be like, oh my God, you didn't want to meet her. This is your fault. Let me tell you something. I said to him a few times, I will meet your girlfriend, but, or I'd like to meet your girlfriend, set up a coffee date for us or a drink, cocktail, whatever. And he was like, absolutely not. He wanted to be there. He said he wanted to be there to introduce us. And I just think that's effing awkward. I'm a businesswoman, or I'm a businesswoman. She's a businesswoman, right? We're grown women, we're grown adults. We can sit down and we can talk without the presence of the tooth, right? He's my ex-husband. I've been with him for 100 years. It's her new whatever, but you know what? He doesn't want her knowing. Isn't that funny? This is what happens. He doesn't want her knowing certain things, because he's not perfect, because he has done some not so nice things to me, and things I'm not discussing, but of course, because some stuff has to stay private. But like in all marriages, there's dark times, and I don't know. And he didn't want her knowing that. So he wants to present whatever version of himself to her, fine. So whatever. Fast forward to the other day. I was going to the gym early in the morning, and I looked like a schlepper. I looked like a Picasso painting. Eye here, another eye down by my chin, hair half up, half down. Haven't showered because I'll shower at the gym, whatever. And I text him on the way to the gym, which is near their school, and I say, hey, I'm gonna stop by and say hi to the kids. I'm walking. It just so happens to be the same time the kids are about to go to school. Maybe this was like on a Wednesday or something, I don't remember. And this text popped up from him, and it was like, the auto can't talk driving. And I was like, driving? That's weird. Like, where the hell is he driving to? He's home. I know he's home taking the kids to school, but I didn't think anything of it. And and then I sat down on a bench near his house, because he lived like right near the school, and I'm just waiting for them to come out. I was like a few minutes early, and it's cold and whatever. And then I walk out and I see this girl holding my kid's hands. And it was the weirdest moment for me. It was like I was on the outside of a snow globe looking in. I didn't even know what was happening at the time. It was like, wait, those are my kids. Wait, they're holding another woman's hands. What's going on? And I'm calling out to my daughter. I'm calling my daughter's names. I'm calling out to them, and they don't hear me. They don't hear me at all. And I'm like, girls, it's mommy. And then finally I call out to the girlfriend's name. And, and she turns around and she's like startled, like, what's going on here? Now she knows who I am. She's seen me, I guess, on the interwebs, according to my kids. She watches my stuff online. Weird. Anyway. So I go over to them, they come to me, whatever happens. And it was just, and I like crouch down to my kids, and I'm just like, oh my God, I miss them. Hi. Oh, what'd you have for breakfast? And my kid, don't even ask me about what they were wearing and all that. I don't want to, anyway. But you have your lunch and all this. And I was like, I didn't know you were taking my children to school. Was that the right thing to say for the first time I'm meeting her in front of my kids? No. Was I shocked? Yeah. Am I a human being? Yes, of course. And then I had the weirdest moment. Like, after I was done saying hi and, have a great day at school, I was like, okay, girls, like, mommy will see you later. And she went to take their hands again to take them to school, and then I was like, it was the weirdest thing. It was like, wait a second, I'm the fucking mother. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I got it. I'll take them to school. See you later. And, and she walked off. And again, I was just totally caught off guard. Now, Paul doesn't say anything to me, right? Tooth says nothing to me. And the kids went to school, and that was that. And I left, and I was feeling so upset, and I was just, it was just, the whole thing was weird. And Paul doesn't say anything to me until a few days later. He starts saying things to me about it, or he mentions it, and he's like, oh, she said, hi, how are you? And you didn't even answer. And it's just like, she didn't say, how are you? She said, oh, hello, Elyse, because, she's British. And I was like, gave her one of these little, shoulders up, little, toothless, smile, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Again, not the best response. I understand this, okay? But Everything about this was so uncomfortable. And now she's apparently went back and says, oh, I didn't say hi. And what does she think? I'm going to have a whole whatever? You know what? Maybe if I was dressed and I didn't have, I wasn't on my way to the gym and I was in a better headspace, not just totally caught off guard. Maybe after I dropped the kids to school, I would have said, why don't you stick around for a little bit? Let's go have a coffee. Let's sit down and talk. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're clearly together for the long run or something. And I don't know what we would have talked about. I have no idea. But it could have been a conversation. It could have been a nice to meet you-ish. Nice-ish to meet you. How about that night? So anyway, the whole thing was weird and I ruined my effing morning and my day. And I'm just like, and as I was going on in my day, I was thinking, I just have to remember why we didn't work out, right? And I have to remember some of the bad things that went on. There were a lot of good things, and there was a time that I thought we were going to get back together, and I thought that for a while. And I even had some of those thoughts not too long ago. And I don't think those thoughts will ever leave, because he's the father of my child. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't have the answers. But, and by the way, after we got divorced, we even talked about like working it out. I think I said this to you not too long ago because of the children. And that is probably the best thing that could happen for the kids in some regards, but it's not happening. And after, this day and this whole thing, I just had to remind myself, why we broke up, why I hate him a lot of the times, why I loved him, the things that happened. And one of the best things that I did when I was married was privately, I took a lot of notes. Like in my iPhone notes, like, because I'm a writer, right? Like, I write my stand-up, I write things, right? So I always would write like diary entries, so to speak, when things were bad or if I was upset, and they're like time-stamped because I never touched them. So when I was thinking about things, I went through my iPhone notes, and I typed in his name, maybe the year, and then all of these notes popped up. And it took me right back into that time and place when we had an argument about, I don't know, something stupid or some stuff, names he called me or whatever. And I was just like, this is not what I want for my life. I don't want this kind of person that has like a Jekyll and Hyde personality, or I don't want somebody that drinks a lot, whatever it was. And I just had to remind myself, and I still do. But anyway, and the other thing I had to remind myself is, and she has to have the relationship with his mother now. Okay? So, put a little bow on it. Moving on. Not ideal. Restaurant talk. Did I tell you I went to this restaurant in Queens, in Astoria, Telly's Taverna? If you're in Queens and you want to have Greek food, this place, I found it, I don't know, well, it's a popular place, but the prices are great. They have this chicken. You get 4 big pieces of chicken for like $22 or $23. All you need is one order of chicken for the whole family. It's fabulous. Anyway, I went there because I took the kids to a ping pong place right across the street. Ping pong. Oh, no, not right across the street. It was it was blocks away, called Ping Pod. I love this new business in Manhattan. Ping Pod opened up, not an ad, just a ping pong hall. And nobody works there, by the way. You badge in, you key in with your phone. There's like a QR code that unlocks the door. And just like wholesome fun, right? They have 10 ping pong tables or whatever set up. I think it's $15 for a half hour, $30 for an hour, which if you're in New York, this is cheap for an activity to do. And it was fun. And then we had Greek food, delicious Greek food after. And I thought, what a fabulous afternoon. Barking Dog opened in Hell's Kitchen. That's another New York City restaurant. if you needed any recommendations. If you're in Times Square seeing a show and you want to go to a diner and you can't get a table at that Ellen Stardust or whatever it is where the waitresses sing, Barking Dog is a diner that's on the Upper East Side, and the food's decent, it's fine, and it's affordable. And it's a good place to go. You know, in Times Square, if you're going to see a show and you want to take the family out and you don't want to spend tons of money. I mean, there's Junior's. I haven't been there in a while since Caroline's, the comedy club. You know, it was now next door, a couple doors down. It closed down. But Junior's is reliable food, but the lines are out the door. So now there's a Barking Dog. So if you're in the neighborhood and you need a recommendation, I like that. And, you know, someone said to me, not too long ago, why do you talk about it? You give these recommendations or whatever, like for these places, like for people on a budget. I said, what the hell are you talking about? They said, you live in Manhattan, you clearly do well for yourself. I said to them, just because I live in Manhattan doesn't mean I'm rolling in the cash. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm sorry. Do you know everybody's trying to give you the squeeze these days? Everything you do. Even when I wanted to watch the Wendy Williams documentary, I had to subscribe to some new streaming whatever service just to watch one show. I still pay for my cable. You know, I want to use an app, right? If I want to actually use the app and be productive, any app. There was a carb counter app or something for keto. If I want to be productive, I have to buy the ad-free version. You know, if I want to read the paper, the Wall Street Journal, see how the markets are doing, whatever, I got to subscribe to get through the paywall. I said, the cost of living these days is so outrageous. Of course, I am going to always talk about deals and affordable places to go. I'm never not going to do that, because even if I was a multi-millionaire, I don't believe in spending tons of money on things that, one, like a meal, for example, that is like a whatever, a special treat, that's one thing. I don't, not an all the time thing. Two, ridiculously expensive clothes and bags and stuff. Now, jewelry, that's another thing. I'm Italian, jewelry to Italians, we like that. And then the Jewish people, we love the jewelry. But I am always going to recommend the affordable, or what I feel is affordable. Also, I grew up middle class. Like, give me a break. When I grew up, my mother, we had the yellow dial soap, VO5, Suave. Suave was a treat. If we had Suave kid shampoo, oh, forget it. That was a treat, right? Q-tips were a treat if in my bathroom. I'm not, I was raised like normal, regular. So I'm never going to say, oh my God, yeah, the new restaurant you got to go to, and, the Kobe beef is $300. I mean, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. I truly believe, obviously as I get older, we start to look at money and all that stuff different. But whenever I go, knock on wood, God forbid, I have no wood, knock on wood, I want to be able to leave my kids something. I want to be able to have set them up in some way. My father died, I got nothing. I couldn't even get the gold chain that he used to wear around his neck. That's a whole nightmare story, because he had a psychotic girlfriend and whatever. But, when my mother, God forbid, my parents, they had a terrible divorce. My mother, her husband takes care of her, so it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, being like that with my kids. I want to make sure that my kids, they're taken care of. At the very least, they'll have their college paid for, at least maybe a little money to pay for their, put a down payment on their house or something. That's what I work towards. I'm not spending, $1 zillion on a dinner any given day of the week. Sorry. Moving on. Okay. On the money note, have you heard about this thing, Shop Club? Okay, hear me out. So I have a lot of friends, and a lot of my friends, they're selling, acquaintances, I should say. They were part of this thing, the Wellness Club, Shop Club. It used to be called Melaleuca. I don't know. I get Mary Kay Tupperware party vibes. Not really though. Cutco knives. Not really. Not really. Because that's like a different thing. I feel like that's almost more social and fun, by the by. But apparently, it's this wellness club where you could join. Like, I don't know how much it costs. Maybe it's like $15 a month or $20 a month, and then you have to spend a certain amount of money in this club per month, and you buy household items and makeup and food, everything from like steaks to cleaning supplies to foundation, and they sell it for like not that expensive apparently. And their thing is like it's wellness products, like it's organic and it's good for you, but it's a club, like it's like the Costco. You pay the membership fee, and I think you have to spend, like I said, a certain amount of money. A lot of people trying to sell me this. I don't want to have anything to do with it. No offense if you're listening and you're in this club or you like it. I just don't want to be a part of something where I have a fixed expense every single month, and then I'm required to buy things in that said club. Like, I have a membership to Costco, and the reason why is because I love getting a pack of 24 or 40, whatever it is, waters for $4. And I buy a lot of stuff at Costco. I buy my toilet paper and my paper towels, and like I said before, berries, and they have bananas for like you get like 20 bananas for like $2. Like I like Costco. Also, I like when I get to Costco in person, and usually I get it delivered, but I like the big triple wide wagon, and I like scanning my card, and I like to go into Costco and look at the clothes, because that's where I'm at in my life. Like, that's the only shopping club I want to be a part of. The only shopping club that I want to be a part of sells $1 hot dog and a 25-cent can of soda, and I can get a $3 rotisserie chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wellness club, like, I mean, again, I people really like it, and apparently the products are good. So, what do we say? I used to say in the crypto world, DYOR, do your own research. Do your own research. But yeah, I'm like not a fan. And it's uncomfortable when your friends are like, oh, I belong to this club and you should join, and it's a shop club, and you're like, and the products are amazing. And I said to like a couple girls, I said, well, why don't you send me a link to the club, and I'll buy a couple things. Like, right, I'll buy a couple things, and let me check it out for myself. And then they oh, well, no, we have to have a meeting, and then no, you got to join first, then you can buy. And that's when I shut down. That's when I shut down. No. Let me have the experience. Let me try the products. Don't try to get me to. Costco will always give you free membership, for a week or whatever. Or remember America Online? Remember that? I'm dating myself. Remember America Online? They'd send you a free silver CD in the mail, 1 hour a week. Try it. Then you'd get 2 hours a week CD, 3 hours, 5 hours a week. Next thing you know, you want America Online all the time. I don't think that we paid for that. Did we ever pay for that when the CDs stopped? I don't think so. Oh my God. You know what I got to tell you? Let me tell you a story, a very quick story before we wrap up. I want to just say congratulations to Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is a comedian in New York City. He's hilarious. I think we did a show together at Governor's out in Long Island. Good club in Long Island, Levittown. Shout out to James, the owner. Hi, James. And anyway, Shane Gillis, I think we did a show together there, or maybe a podcast, I can't remember, but he's a funny comedian, and he hosted SNL recently, like last month, Saturday Night Live. I'm so happy for him. This is what I want to say. If you're ever doubting yourself, don't doubt yourself, because there was a comedy club in New Jersey, I think at the Jersey Shore, that had Shane Gillis in the club, or knew of Shane Gillis when he was coming up or whatever, maybe on lineups. And Shane wanted to do a weekend. This isn't a parent story. Shane didn't tell me this. This is a parent. Somebody told me this. Shane wanted to do a weekend at the club, or a night at the club, headline, meaning it's just his show and everybody could come see just him, right? That is what I will be doing soon, FYI. All over the world, so you don't have to worry. I'll be in the UK and probably Australia. A lot of Australians there. Anyway, moving on. Shane was in the club and wanted to do this day at the club by himself, wanted to do a night, whatever. And the club owner, I don't know if he said it directly to him, but said to other people, no, because he's not going to be anything, and he's never going to go anywhere, and he's not that funny. And you want to know what? I love this story because Shane gave that owner a big, figurative F you by hosting SNL. Moral of the story, please, as we know, don't let anybody get in your mind when you hear, or if they say to you directly, God forbid they say it to you directly, that would be terrible, that you can't do something or you can't be something. You could do whatever you want to do. Anything you put your mind to, you can do. So when I saw that he was hosting SNL, I was like, I literally love that. I love that. Now look at him. Anyway. On my affordable beauty, VO5 and Suave note, product of the day is this thing I have here. I have it on. I love Revlon products. I'm always going to love them. This, I'm holding it up. It's like literally this lipstick. It's I usually wear like a stick lipstick. This is a brush. One side is the color and the other side is the clear thing, like a clear gloss. It's called Revlon Color Stay Over Time. It lasts for 16 hours. You put the color on and then you put the clear top coat on. It really lasts. Like, it lasts so long, I have to take a napkin and like literally, really like rub it off. I love it. Like, the color I have on right now is called Stay Current. It's a maroon color. Not appropriate for spring. Who cares? But I love this. I absolutely love it. Anyway, that's it. Quote of the day. It's unknown. I don't know who said it. I also love this. It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what we do consistently. I'm Elyse DeLucci. This has been New York Talk. Love to love you, baby.